Good morning, everyone. So, I am Dr. Biranchi Panda, Assistant Professor of Mechanical Engineering Department at IIT Guwahati. So, today I will be talking about an innovative, disruptive technology that has redefined the construction industry in a very short span of time. So, I am going to talk about 3D concrete printing technology. So, this is the content of my presentation. So, we'll first discuss various types of concrete printing process, and then we'll discuss about some of the materials that has been developed for this process. So, in this section I am going to talk about some sustainable material development that has already been done as a part of my PhD, and then we'll discuss the process and property relationship of this process. This is a new process where we have to understand how the process parameter is going to affect the complete process chain as well as its structural property. And then towards the end of my lecture, we are going to demonstrate, we are going to see some projects that has been carried out as a part of my PhD work, and also we'll discuss some of the concrete printing projects all over the world to see how potential the technology is to change the paradigm of construction industry. So, before moving into this digital construction technology, let us first understand what is the demerits of traditional construction process. I hope those who are from mechanical engineering, they must know that the concrete is a composite material. So, it consists of cement, sand, aggregates, some admixtures. But if you see the traditional construction process, it is more about molding and casting type process. So, it means every time we have to create a mold, and once you mix the material, we have to dump into the mold as it is shown in this picture. If you can see here, a group of workers, they are trying to do the casting operation. So, it is similar to our conventional casting process. We have to create the mold, and once the mold is ready, the material has to be dumped into the molding box, and after few days of hardening, this mold can be removed to get the complete structure. So, this is how traditional construction is being developed everywhere. And if you look into the productivity of this construction process and compare it with other manufacturing industry, it is very clear that the productivity of the construction industry is quite stable over the years. It is not changing like other manufacturing, agriculture or marketing industries. What are the other demerits of this traditional process? As you can see, that laborers are used in this process day and night. They are working in a very bad environment, and also sometimes depending upon the nature of the job, they are also exposed to very risky environment. So, what is the solutions we have? Of course, one of the technology that today we are following is concrete printing. But what is the main reason to pursue this technology in our building and construction industry? To me, the first reason that I would like to go for concrete printing is all about design freedom. It means you can see an example of the structure that has been 3D printed by a company called Xtree, and you can imagine the degree of complexity that is involved in this structure. And believe me, the structure is printed without the need of any mold. So, previously we discussed that if conventional construction process, we need the mold and formwork to erect a structure. But if you see the 3D printing process, it is directly from a digital design to a final product. So, it means we do not have to create the mold to create such complex structures. Directly from the digital design, we can print it without the need of any mold. So, that is the first advantage of printing concrete, that we can go for any complex design without the need of mold. The second reason, which is very close to my heart, is all about sustainability. So, what is sustainability? So, if you see, this is an example of 3D printed concrete bridge in Netherlands, and the beauty of this bridge is that if you see the cross section, it is not entirely solid, rather the cross section has been topological optimized. So, it means that the material is there where there is a need of material. So, that is again a very big advantage of concrete printing process, that if you are going to optimize the design, you can print the structure easily without any difficulties. So, sustainability regards in terms of material design, also how you design the structures. So these are the two key reasons for pursuing concrete printing. Apart from that, of course, we have a reason of automation, the productivity, but these two, design freedom and sustainability, is the key factor that is driving this technology in our building and construction industry. So if you see this process, it's all about 3D concrete printing process, but there are many advanced technology that can be come under digital construction technology. So in this lecture, we are going to only focus on two extrusion based 3D printing process, which has been shown in this picture. So this is a typical example of 3D concrete printer structure, but this is one possible example. The other category of 3D printing comes under particle bed fusion category. So if you can see in this video that a structure is being printed using a particle bed fusion process. It means a machine is there, it is depositing the binder over the bed of sand. So first the sand is being deposited in stack amount, and then the binder is droplet wise deposited at the point where we need to bind the material. So by binding the exact amount of material, we can create the 3D structures. So this technology was invented by D-Shape as the name of D-Shape, and the credit goes to a person called D. Cini, where he has developed this technology. And as you can see in this process, the complex structures can be created using powder bed technology. So the advantage of this technology is that you have a stack of powder, and just by depositing the binder using a gantry type machine, you can create a complex geometry without the need of mold. So this is the second category of concrete printing technology, where by binder jetting process we are creating complex geometries. The first category belongs to concrete printing, the second class belongs to the binder jetting process, or in some book you will find the reference as particle bed fusion. Apart from these two technology, there are some other technology which is not directly related to 3D printing, but still they are counted under digital construction technology. So since this course is all about additive manufacturing technology, we are not going to discuss too much about these processes, but I just want to highlight the importance of these newly digital technology that are being deployed in construction industry. The one is smart dynamic casting. As you can see here, the robots are being used to create structures, and the advantage of this new process that during casting the shape can be changed. So that is called smart dynamic casting, because dynamically you can change the shape of the object that is being erected by the robotic system. Similarly, by using the robotic systems, another technology is mesh molding, where the mesh are being welded using this robotic system, and they want to create a complete cage kind of system where it is going to act like a reinforcement. So what exactly I want to say here, that in construction there are so many automated technology that are being available to improve the productivity. Apart from these two technology, you can also find robotic bricklaying machine, robotic plastering, painting machines are also available, and that are also being used in our construction industry. But in this lecture we are going to discuss mainly about concrete 3D printing process. So I have a video, I just want to share this video so that you will get a feeling that this technology, though it sounds very new, but the origin starts almost 80 years back. So if you see this video, you can see that previously also similar technology was available to create the building using a layering approach. So you can see in this video that the machine is there, it is depositing a material which may not be Portland cement or concrete, but it is depositing a material to create a complex geometry. So after 80 years, a company called Episcor, they published a news that similar buildings can be created using an advanced system, as you can see in the picture. So the only difference you will see, not only in terms of material, but also the technology has also advanced in 80 years. So this is another system which is like a crane based robotic arm. So the material can be deposited layer by layer, similar to the video that 80 years back already people are trying to print similar objects. So in this system, the materials are deposited layer by layer to create the entire structure in 24 hours. So this is the news, is all about how to print house using concrete printing system. So this technology was actually inspired by a scientist called Kushnabis, who initially put up this proposal to print the structures for astronauts who were going for some space applications. So you can see the picture that similar technology was proposed by the scientist Kushnabis, who proposed that by using this kind of technology, the material can be deposited in an automatic manner to create some habitats for the astronauts. And then the similar technology can be also deployed in Earth, which is known as the technology called contour crafting. So he named the technology as a contour crafting, but later on this technology was renamed, or it was getting a new name of 3D concrete printing. So as you can see on the second picture that is in the right hand corner, so it is a demonstration of 3D printing of entire housing unit using concrete printing technology. So a gantry type machine is there, it is having a nozzle which is going to deposit the material layer by layer, and by doing so we can print the entire house, and this is the concept that was proposed by scientist Kushnabis. And after his inception of the idea, you can see how industry and academia are putting their attention to get involved in this technology, and this graph shows that there is significant amount of increase in attention by different academia and industry to adopt this technology for building and construction application. So this graph tells the significant amount of research that is being pursued by industry and academia for the technology development. So now let us discuss about the technology, what is it all about, how we can print structures using concrete material, what is the material design, and how about the process property relationship. So to start this concrete printing technology, I just want to show a video. So you can see this printing process is exactly similar to an existing 3D printing technology that is known as FDM, fused deposition modeling. Okay, so as you can see, similar to fused deposition modeling technique, the concrete, that is the fresh concrete, is being deposited layer by layer directly from the digital model. So as you can see on the video, we have an extruder that is depositing the materials layer by wise, and this extruder is a part of a gantry machine. That machine is known as concrete printing machine. So in the next slide you can see this is the machine that is used to deposit the concrete layer by layer. It's a 4-axis gantry printer. On the left hand side you can see a control box that is being used to control the entire machine, and on the right hand side you can see a pump that is being used to deposit the material. It will transfer the material exactly from the reservoir to the print head or the extruder. So these two functions are there. So one is your controller, another is your pump. The controller controls the machine, it accepts the G code of the design, and accordingly it directs the machine to deposit the material, and the material comes from the pump. As you can see the picture in the right hand side, this pump is used to deposit the material layer by layer directly from the digital 3D model. So now let us discuss what is the challenges or what is the difficulties in designing the material for this concrete printing process. So before we discuss, let us find out what is the difference between this concrete printing technology which is similar to an FDM technology. So if you see very carefully that in FDM 3D printing process, which is more about polymer printing, we deposit the layer directly from the 3D model, which is almost similar in concrete printing process. The first difference you can identify that in case of polymer printing, once you deposit the layer, it is rapidly hardened so that the next layer can be deposited. But in case of concrete printing, it doesn't happen so. It means once you deposit the material, it remains fresh, and still you can deposit more layers to print a 3D structure. So that is the beauty of this process. Even though the layer is fresh, still you can deposit more layers to print the structure. So now this is the main challenge to design material for this application. So it means if you see the entire process, we have a pump that is pump the concrete to the extruder, and then we have to deposit the material over a print bed. So there are two phenomena that is concurrently happening. First is your material is being pumped by a pump through the hose pipe to the extruder, and once it is being deposited on the print bed, it have to be take its own shape immediately so that we can deposit more layers. So if you see these two process and if you think about the material requirement, it is totally contradicting in nature. It means, imagine the material that need to be pumped out through the pipe, it have to be very fluid, otherwise it cannot be pumped out. It's very simple phenomena, but you think about the material that is being deposited on the print bed. It cannot be no longer as a fluid material, because if it belongs to a fluid material, then we cannot deposit more layers. So the material that have to be pumped through have to be very fluid, but the material that is going to be deposited on the print bed, it have to be very stiff so that we can deposit more layers. So that is the fundamental science of this process, that understanding this concept, now we have to design the material for this process. So as I mentioned, during pumping we need a very fluid kind of material so that the pumping will be easier. So for that regard, if we are going to assume that we have a material which is very fluid in nature and which is having very low yield stress, and we simply want to deposit on the print bed, so maybe this material will be easy to pump, but once you deposit on the print bed, it may not retain its shape. It may simply flow away, because it is having very low yield stress. It does not have the capability to retain the shape, because for shape retention there is a minimum need of yield stress. If that yield stress is not fulfilled, then the material will not able to retain its own shape. So for that reasons, of course, we cannot use a very fluid material. Then what is the solution? Can we use a very high stiff or high viscosity material? Of course we can use it, but you can see the consequence as shown in the picture, that if we are going to use a very stiff material during extrusion, the layers may not be continuous. And also for pumping this kind of stiff material, we need a high pumping pressure, because it is no longer a fluid like the previous material, it's a very stiff concrete. So we have to apply a high pressure to extrude such kind of material, but even after extrusion you can see some discontinuity in the layer. So what does it signify is that to create a proper mix for concrete printing application, we have to properly design the mix design so that the yield stress and viscosity can be optimized. So in this regard, we have to also come up with a mix design that comes under printability window. So what is printability? So in concrete printing, we define printability by extrudability, it should be extrudable. Shape retention capability, once you extrude, it must retain its shape. And third one is buildability. Of course, you need to add more layers to create the entire 3D structure. So these three key properties we define in terms of defining printability for concrete printing applications. So how to do this? So for achieving such material design requirement, we have to rely on a technology or a scientific concept known as thixotropy. So what is thixotropy? On the picture on the left hand side, you can see that there is an example of squeezing the paste over a brush. So think about this example. So it means once you squeeze the tube to get the paste out of that, you have to apply some force, and as soon as the paste comes out of the tube, it get deposited over your brush and it remain in its own position. Okay, it never flows away. But you also need to apply very less pressure to extrude such kind of material. So this is the principle of thixotropy, where we have to apply less pressure to extrude such kind of material, and after extrusion they will remain in its own position. It means during extrusion or during pressing this tube, the material will behave like a shear thinning material. The material will act like a low viscosity material. Okay, so that the paste or the material in terms of concrete printing can be extruded out easily from the tube or the nozzle, but as soon as you deposit, it should remain in its own position unless you disturb the material. So that is the key concept of thixotropy, that once you apply the shear force, once you apply the force on the tube, the material will act like a shear thinning material. Viscosity will go down so that the material can comes out of the tube very easily. But as soon as you release the force, as soon as you stop applying any force on the material will regain its original viscosity and try to remain in its own position without simply flowing away either on the print bed, or if you see the example, it should remain stable on the brush itself. So that is the key principle now we have to rely on to develop the material for concrete printing application. Hope it is clear to all of you. Now let us think that whether this can be achieved through the use of cement based material. For example, if you take any Portland cement, which is a regular material for developing concrete mixes, let us see whether Portland cement, or you may call it as cement, can have such potential for concrete printing application. If yes, what is the key mechanism? So to answer the question, yes, it is possible. We can definitely use Portland cement to develop 3D printable mix. So what is the science behind this material development? The science is again remains thixotropy. So there are a few schematics in this slide. So first, if you see the picture that is represented of cement grain. So 2 cement grain is there. So if you are going to develop a mix by adding cement and water, so cement particle, they always attract with a van der Waals force of attraction, and with time CSH gel are being formed, and this CSH gel try to hold the cement grain in a very stiff manner, so that once you deposit this kind of material, they will never going to flow away. So always they will try to remain in its own position. But this bond is also not so strong. If you apply some force, it easily breakable. So on the right hand side again, if you see another picture that we are depositing the material layer by layer, it says that there is a minimum yield stress that need to be attained to deposit a single layer of material. Okay, so if you are designing a material, this is the yield stress that need to be attained so that the layer will be stable. And as soon as you deposit more layers, so what is going to happen? The material will start reacting with water, because normally if you see the cement science, once you add water to cement, it start reacting. So reaction means the cement particle try to react and form some new particles. As you can see the picture that is on the left hand corner. On the bottom side, you can see that with respect to different time interval, what is happening to cement grain once you add the water is represented schematically. So you can see initially gray color particles were there. Once you added water, some new particle formed and they are highlighted in other black color. Okay, so what happens, like once you add water into cement, so new particles like CHs get formed and they try to hold the cement particles together. So it means this cement material that you have developed, it is now not going to flow away. It is going to be in its own position. But one important point you need to remember, that though the bond is present in between cement grains, but still it's a very weak bond. It's a weak bond, it can be destroyed easily by applying the force. So what does it signify? That if we are going to use this material in concrete printing process, by applying pumping pressure, we can easily destroy the bond, make the material more fluid, so that the material can pass through the pump, it can extrude out easily. But as soon as you deposit on the print bed, you are no longer going to apply any force on it. So again, this CSS particle are going to be formed, which is going to make the material more stiff. So ultimately, you are going to end up with a very stable layer. So this is the mechanism of how cement is being used in 3D printing process. But what is the problem with cement? That cement is not a sustainable material, because everyone knows that cement production releases lot of CO2, and also this production process is an energy intensive process. Okay, it needs lot of energy for the production of cement. So what we thought, let us make the material more sustainable, so that we try to use other industry waste like fly ash, which is having spherical in nature. So if you see the fly ash particle under microscope, it is mostly spherical in nature. The microscope image is shown on the left hand side. You can see this fly ash particle, which is coming from the industry waste. It is mostly spherical in nature. So if we want to replace cement, if you want to replace the cement with fly ash, what is going to happen? Let us investigate. So there is a video here. You can see that once we replace the fly ash with cement, ultimately the structure is going to collapse after deposition of few layers only. Okay. So again, we need to investigate the reason behind that, which is very simple and well known to most civil engineer, that because the spherical particles, once you replace with cement, it will try to decrease the viscosity. because they have a rolling action. So because of the rolling, the material viscosity will go down, and since viscosity is low, of course you cannot print more layers. The material will collapse after printing of 3 or 4 layers. So that is the problem of using fly ash in concrete printing process. So we thought, let us improve this buildability of this process without disturbing the fly ash amount. So for that reason, so this is another example. So it shows that if you want to use fly ash as much as amount in your mixed design by just replacing the cement, it will soon collapse because of the low viscosity property, low yield stress property. It cannot sustain the loads of more layers, so soon after it will collapse simply. But still we want to go with sustainable material design, so we have to find some other way to improve the buildability, because as you can see, the extrudability, shape retention are quite well accepted by this fly ash cement mixed design, but the buildability is the main problem. So in the next slide you can see that we attempted to improve the buildability by adding some nanomaterials. So this is a nano clay example. The microscopic image is shown in the here. So you can see this nano clay is like a rod shape. So they carry negative charge on the surface and positive charges on the end. So we added this nano clay into our mixed design, and the results are shown here. You can see by adding just 0.5% of nano clay, we have significantly improved the yield stress of the material. Previously, if you see that by replacing the cement with fly ash, the yield stress was very less, that is the 0% nano clay content, which is a control mix, which is having very low yield stress, which is not sufficient to hold the loads of other layers. And to improve the buildability, we added the nano clay up to 0.5%, and we have seen that by adding this nano clay, the yield stress has significantly improved. And the reason behind this is all about the flocculation. So what is flocculation? So if you are going to add different clay into cement mix in the literature, you will find different reasons that how clay is affecting the rheology. So capillary suction, hydration, water absorption, particle packing, flocculation. So many reasons are reported in the literature, and we found that this nano clay is improving the yield stress only by the flocculation mechanism. So what is flocculation? Again, it's similar to the thixotropy concept, means during printing the opposite charge, they attract each other. So once you deposit on the print bed, the opposite charge will attract each other and you will get a stable print filament. But during pumping, what is going to happen? This similar charges, they repel each other and you will get a very low yield stress or low viscosity fluid. And so that it is very easy to pump such kind of low viscosity fluid. But after you print on this material, the attraction between opposite charges, it will create a very stable mixed design. So you can see with the modified mixed design, we are able to print more layers without any significant deformation. And sometimes in concrete printing process, you will find some minimum deformation. And if you don't notice it, if you don't correct the problem, maybe sooner or later the whole structure may collapse. So to monitor this small deformation, we have added a small distance sensor to the nozzle. So it is going to monitor the deformation of each layer, so that during the process we will know exactly where the defects start, and we have to do some changes in the material design as well as in the process parameter to minimize such defects. So regarding thixotropy, since we have developed the mixed design, let us discuss about a different way to characterize the material that is being used in this process. So thixotropy can be evaluated in this two protocol. So the first protocol is all about structural breakdown, the shear thinning, that I was repeatedly telling that during extrusion the material must behave shear thinning. So it means that when you apply the force on the material, it must lose its viscosity, which is represented in the graphical image. So you can see we have done some test in the rheometer, the material that is being used in printing process. We have considered this material for thixotropy evaluation. So what we have done here, in the rheometer we applied very high shear rate just to mimic the pumping process, because if you see the pumping process, it apply high shear rate on the material. So to see what is happening when you are pumping the material, we applied the similar condition in a rheometer, So we can see that once we apply a very high shear rate, the material shear stress decreases from a value of around 2400 to almost less than 1800. So it means that though the material is having a very high shear stress in the beginning, if you start pumping, or in other words, if you start applying some pressure, it will immediately release the viscosity and you will end up with a very low viscosity material. So it means that this low viscosity material is easy for extrusion. This material is excellent for our printing application, because I can see as soon as I apply high shear rate to mimic the pumping process, the viscosity goes down to very low number, which is well accepted for only extrusion process. But concrete printing doesn't end at extrusion only. We have to deposit more layers to create the entire 3D structure. So for that reason, we have to also go for another thixotropy test, which is known as viscosity recovery. What does it mean? Means previously you are extruding a very low viscosity material, but now once you deposit the material on the print bed, what is the new viscosity value? So to confirm the viscosity change, we have to do the viscosity recovery test. So if you see this plot, there are 3 stages: before extrusion, during extrusion and after extrusion. So it means that before I start pumping, the material was having a very high viscosity. So it doesn't matter to all, because we are mostly interested during pumping or during extrusion and what is going to happen after extrusion. So you can see once I apply high shear rate, the viscosity goes down to below 10 Pascal second. But as soon as I deposit on the print bed, it means I stop applying any shear force on the material, the viscosity again went up to a very higher value. So it means this material have the viscosity recovery ability. Means during pumping or during extrusion, though it is having a very low viscosity, but once I deposit on the print bed, it has the ability to regain its original viscosity, which is at very high value. So this is how we characterize the material development in 3D concrete printing process, and with the development work, we were able to print 60-80 layers in one go without any significant deformation. So then this is one possible way to develop material. The another possible way, you can also take an approach that by printing very fluid like material, but you have to do some trick to make the material rapidly harden once you deposit on the print bed. So it is similar to like FDM concept. The technology that I explained, it is not similar to FDM, rather we are depositing very fresh material and we are taking the help of thixotropy to deposit more layers. That is one approach to develop material for concrete printing application. The second approach can be you print a very fluid like material, but try to improve the structuration rate of the material, which in other words known as hardening. It means you are depositing the material, but once you deposit, it should rapidly harden so that more layers can be deposited. So there is a video also we tried this approach. You can see it's a robotic printing process. So during printing, the material is like a very fluid material, okay, but since the material is rapidly hardening, we are able to deposit more layers without any structural failure. So it's a very unique approach, and if you see many construction industry, they are adopting this second way of developing the material, because here as you can see the material is very fluid in nature. You can deposit easily without any difficulties. You need very less pumping pressure, but the only problem that you need to face here, that the material need to be hardened immediately once you deposit. Otherwise you cannot print even more than 3 or 4 layers. So that is the only difference of developing the mixed design in a second approach. So you can see that we can deposit almost like 50-60 layers, or even we can go higher with such material development approach. And this material is not a Portland cement based material, rather it is a new material that we developed for a competition that was launched by NASA. So they initially inaugurated a competition to create again the similar habitats in the Mars. So the competition was all about to develop a new material design that need less water requirement. So for that applications, we developed this geopolymer material. This material is known as geopolymer. It's a polymer, inorganic polymer. So we developed this material for concrete printing application, as you can see, and as I told you, by doing a very fluidic material, we can deposit more layers without any structural collapse. Yeah, I was mentioning about this material. It's a geopolymer material. So the ingredients are shown in the picture. So we mostly use industry byproduct like fly ash, FA, slag, GGBS, and chemical activators like potassium silicate. So the interesting thing that since we are not using water in the material development process, so the activator has a significant role to control the rheology of the material. So we have seen that this activator actually it has higher viscosity than the water. If you compare the activator viscosity, it is mostly higher than the viscosity of the water at a different concentration, because it's a chemical product, so it has its own concentration which can be represented by molar ratio. So you can see by increasing the molar ratio, the viscosity of this liquid or the potassium silicate is increasing. So when the viscosity of this activator, or you may say potassium silicate, increasing, it is also going to affect the final rheology. So you can see that by adding different molar ratio, we can expect different yield stress and viscosity. So if you are going to print the material with a very low molar ratio, like molar ratio 1.8, since this viscosity of this activator is low at 1.8, you are going to get a very poor concrete filament. But in case of molar ratio 2.0, since it exhibits a better higher viscosity, so the material has a very good shape retention. So this has been denoted by a factor called shape retention factor. So if you can see, in case of molar ratio 1.8, the factor is 0.34, but in case of molar ratio 2.0, we have a higher shape retention factor, that is 0.92. So by printing this two material, we can always see a difference, because here I am trying to demonstrate two conditions: the printing of 1.8 molar ratio concrete and printing of 2.0 molar ratio geopolymer concrete. You can see when the viscosity is very low, once you start printing, after some printing of some 3 or 4 layers, you will see some significant deformation, and it will always visible by the stand-off distance. If you closely watch this two printing process, you will see that after printing of few layers, if the material start deforming, you will see some stand-off distance which is between the tip of the nozzle to the top layer of the material. But in case of a very good material where deformation is not occurring, you will see at zero distance, almost nothing. You will see that in case of printing a material which is having a very good high buildability. So it clearly says that when you are going to use a very poor material, even if you can print it 3-4 layers, after printing it, you will find a deformation which can be seen in terms of stand-up distance. So as long as you print, more stand-up distance will be visible, but in case of printing molar ratio 2.0, the stand-up distance is very negligible. So it means the material is buildability capability is very higher, and you can print more layers without any deformation. So this is an example of this structure that has been printed with geopolymer. So 60 layers has been printed without again any deformation or structural failure. So it's an overhanging example. So sometimes, since the material is rapid hardening in nature, we can deposit more layers without any issue of overlapping. So now discussing about the very large scale structures, we have to take a third approach of material design. So I explained two approaches of material development, but all are limited to low rise building structures. But now if we are planning for a high rise building structure, we have to think it differently, means we have to find a technology for rapidly hardening the mix. So here is an example. You can see a robotic printer which is similar to a gantry printer. It's having a higher degree of freedom, but it's a robotic system, both having its own advantage and demerits. So gantry and robotic systems are mostly used for concrete printing application. But let us discuss about the material development aspect here. You can see in this picture that the nozzle is very specific. Specific in terms means, like you can see, so the mixing is happening in the nozzle. This mixing is all about to create a rapid hardening mix. It means that there are two inlets of this nozzle. One is accepting the concrete, regular concrete, which is not rapidly hardened, and second is a chemical admixture which is being added to the material to simply increase the hardening ability. So it means this two material once mix and it will be extruded out, the ultimate mix that is going to be deposited on the print bed is going to be had rapid hardening ability so that you can print more layers. So this is the key concept of printing large scale structure by doing some modification at the nozzle or print head level. So the scientific concept is demonstrated in the picture. So you can see that what is happening once you deposit the material, the yield stress exponentially increases because of this chemical admixture, and due to which you can deposit more layers. So and also when we are going for large scale printing application, we also conduct some green strength test. So what is green strength test? It signifies that what is the load bearing capacity of your fresh concrete. So normally we do harden property by compressing the material, but in concrete printing applications we have done some green strength test. It means when the material is at a very fresh stage, we try to compress it and we see what is the maximum load bearing capacity of the material. So as you can see, in the early age the material collapse easily, but once the material start to harden, means almost about 150 minutes, the material have a shear crack. So it means it has more resistance to take the loads of other layers. So with this material data information, we also need to get some shear property of the material, because when you are printing the material, some shear force is also acting on the layers. So compressive strength, shear stress are very important to understand the layer deformation in this 3D concrete printing process. So with this data, we have done some modeling in collaboration with other university in Australia. So you can see that we are now able to model the entire building process of this 3D printed concrete structure. So why it is important to model this process? Because sometimes when you are planning for large scale structure, if the material is not designed well, it will collapse after printing up 2 or 3 meter tall structure, which is going to be a very nightmare job for the workers. So it is important that before we do actual printing, we should model the entire process, and for modeling we need some material data in its fresh stage. Like we conducted green strength test, we conducted the shear test to find the compressive, the shear property of the fresh concrete, and with this data we attempted to model the entire process. I think a video is available here. You can see that the complete process has been shown here, that during printing, as soon as you deposit the material, how the stress is developing in each layer, that has been demonstrated in this video. So it says that now if you are planning for a large scale structure printing, it is very important to understand the deformation of each layer, so that you can optimize the material as well as the processing parameter accordingly. So you can see on the right hand side, you can see we are adding one layer according to the stress data, and left hand side the cylinder is being printed, and we almost try to mimic the entire printing process using our modeling approach. So this is all about material development. Now let us come to the third part of this lecture, which is all about the process parameters. So like other 3D printing process, in concrete printing also the process parameter affects the printing quality. So what are the process parameters? Like here we have print speed, layer height, nozzle shape, and from design perspective we have the nozzle shape, size, overhanging feature, material distribution, and from material perspective we have some few property like extrudability, buildability, open time, strength, all these things. So ultimately this process parameter, this design and material all affects the overall quality of the printer structure. Since we have discussed about material, now let us understand how process parameter affects the print quality. So in this picture you can see that we have done a very simple test to find out what is the relationship between the print speed and the layer width. It's very clear that keeping the flow rate constant, if you are printing with a very higher speed, the layer width is going to be smaller with increasing the print speed. But always there will be optimum print speed for which the filament width will having the similar shape and retention according to the nozzle shape and size. So for this process we found that 80 mm per second is an optimum print speed. As we can see, this printed filament is having almost the same shape and size as that of nozzle. So we have also done some modeling to find out the exact speed mathematically. But apart from print speed, the nozzle shape is very important, because you can see that if I am going to use a circular nozzle, like other print, like FDM and other printing processes, it is going to create some porosity in between the layers. It is very clearly visible from the microscopic image that if I am going to use the circular nozzle, I am going to end up with these macropores, okay, which may negatively affect my structural property. Having said that, it is also important to understand the material property, because you may not get the same porosity if you have a different material, which is very important to understand in concrete printing, that not only the process parameter but also the material has some impact on the print quality. So what exactly I want to say here, that in this picture the material being used was very stiff material. So you can see the layers are exactly circular, okay, there is no deviation of the layers. But suppose if I am going to use a very soft material for this application using a circular nozzle, maybe due to softness of the material, you may not find such large pores. Material will be slightly shrink and these pores can be minimized. So that can be also seen, as you can see in this picture, that is on the bottom line, that one structure has been shown. If you see the cross section, the pores has been minimized because we have used circular nozzle but with a very soft material. So it means that both material as well as the nozzle diameter plays an important role for controlling the porosity in concrete printer structure. But of course, if you don't want to use this circular nozzle, you want to go for a square or other shape, the porosity even can be minimized, but you need to take care of the overlapping feature. Okay, so you can see another shape cross section that has been shown in the right hand side. It has very less pores because we have used a rectangular nozzle with some overlapping feature so that the porosity has been minimized. So this is how in concrete printing, material as well as your processing parameter is playing a bigger role in controlling the overall quality of the print structure. So now let us think about design aspect. What the challenges from design point of view in this newly developed technology? So if you see this two picture, it's actually a toilet unit that's supposed to be printed. If you see the design aspect, we have a corner radius in this picture. I will show it in the next slide. Yeah, you can see it here, that in this design we have a corner radius, we have a corner feature. So before we print, we did some trial to see what is the best corner radius for this application, and we found that initially we set the radius of curvature was 40 mm, and we found that if we are maintaining this 40 mm radius of curvature, we can see some sharp tears at the periphery of the layers. So it's again classified as defects in concrete printing. So to solve these defects, we start improving the radius of curvature to 50, 60, 70 and 80 millimeter. And you can see by increasing the radius of curvature, the defect has been minimized completely. So it means that maybe there will be reason for which this sharp radius will cause such kind of problem. But again I will try to repeat the same story here, that it also depends upon the material ability. Always in our research we try to use very stiff material, so that even if you go with a very small radius of curvature, you will see such kind of sharp tears. The cracks you can see on the periphery of the layers. But in case you want to try with a very soft material, this defect can be also minimized. So the main important point to remember here is that in concrete printing, the design, material and processing parameters are important. Because as you can see here, though with the stiff material, we can see some defects here, it can be minimized by improving the material also. You don't have to increase the radius of curvature, because sometimes from the design perspective, the designer do not want to change the design features. Suppose for these applications, if I want to completely stick to 40 mm radius of curvature, then I have to redefine the material design. I cannot simply change the radius of curvature. But still, it's also one possible way that if the design can be changeable, we can also do the change in the design so that this tearing can be minimized. 30, 40, as long as you increase the radius of curvature, you can minimize the defect. So this is how the design of this structure is also important in concrete printing. Now we know that the material development, we know how to play with machines, parameter and design. Let us have a look on the mechanical property of the structure. Like other 3D printing process, in concrete printing, the mechanical property are anisotropic in nature. So to have an investigation, we printed a block of concrete, and then we have taken 3 cubes and applied the force in 3 mutually perpendicular direction. As you can see in this picture, that the structure, the cubes, the 3D printed cubes are being exposed to loading condition in 3 different direction. We want to investigate what is the consequence of loading on 3 different direction. And if you see the strength result, that though in the literature it has been reported that the concrete printer structures are mostly anisotropic in nature, but we didn't see any such kind of anisotropy. Rather, if you see, the properties are almost similar to the casted structure property. The C denotes the casted structure strength, F1, F2, F3 are the compressive strength in 3 different direction. So F1 direction is having highest compressive strength, F2 and F3 is bit having less strength. But if you see the overall strength of all the casting and 3 direction, the strength are almost equal. It is having a very less deviation. So I will not say this is having an anisotropic property, but again it depends upon your printing process. So if you are having more pores in one direction, if you are having some defects in other directions, of course you are going to expect such kind of anisotropy strength for concrete printed structure. Then we did some bending test. In the bending test, the 2 directions are very important to us, because if you can see the first direction, when the layers are along the similar direction of the load. So here the bond strength of the layers are very important, which is going to affect your bending properties. In F2 direction, the layers are horizontally placed and the load are vertically applying. So you can see here we have found a very significant difference in 3 different direction. And for us, the more important direction was F1, because during printing, if you do not optimize the bond strength in between the layers, in F1 direction, you will get a very poor bond strength. As you can see in the result, the F1 direction is having very low bond strength, sorry, the low bending strength. So as I said, it depends purely on the bonding property of the layers. So to again further investigate the bonding between the layers, we have done some bond test. So how it has been done? So we have printed 2 layers of material and then we tested in tensile test. We have done some tensile test by applying the force in vertically opposite direction, and we have seen that with respect to time gap. So what we have done here, we have also changed the time gap between 2 layers. If you see the 2 layers are there, we have changed the time gap between these 2 layers, and we investigated with respect to time gap how the tensile strength is varying. So we have found that here that with more time gap, we are going to expect a very poor bond strength. So you can see that when we have a time gap of 15 minutes, the bond strength is very low, and it is also related to the material development process, because if you see the material yield stress behavior, it is very rapidly hardening with time. So once the material start to harden immediately, and even if you significantly delay the time gap between 2 layers, it is going to affect your bond strength. So that is the key message we got from the bond strength, that the bond strength is the factor of material, time gap and process parameter, because we may vary the time gap between the 2 layers, but if the material that we are using is rapidly hardening in nature, then even 10 minutes time delay is significantly going to affect the bond strength. But if the material remain fresh for a long time, you may not see such deviation in the bond strength. So it means the material development is very important, which can significantly affect the bond strength. Now what about the process parameter? How the processing parameters can affect the bond strength? So for that we have done some testing by pressing the layers during printing. So what happens here? So during concrete printing process, we intentionally minimize the layer height so that the layers will be pressed. So you can see, just by pressing the layers during the printing, we have also improved the bond strength. You can see a microscopic image that if you are simply printing without pressing the layers, you may have some micropores in the layers. It may possible, it is not a clear fact that every time you will get such micropores, but it is possible to have such micropores if you are using a stiff material. But if I am using a very soft material, these micropores can be minimized, but in case of stiff material, if you are facing this micropore issue, you can start to press the layer little bit so that this micropores can be minimized, as it has been shown in the next picture that we are not able to see these micropores. So now with this overall concept of concrete printing, like starting from material design, process parameter, then your design aspect, and understanding the mechanical properties, we started some projects. Our first project was the 3D printed of the entire toilet unit that was designed earlier. So this is a toilet unit having 2.2 meter tall structure. So we printed the entire building, entire structure using this gantry printer with the fly ash cement mix design. And this was also showcased in one event when our Indian Prime Minister visited our Singapore event. And then we went for another project where with the help of industry partner Sembcorp, we printed a complete bathroom unit using a robotic system. So here I just want to highlight some of the advantage of this robotic system, because here it offers more degree of freedom compared to a gantry system, which is very well known to everyone. So again, the same nozzle was redesigned for robotic applications. As you can see, the robotic system is behind the screen, and using this large scale robotic facility, we printed the 3.2 meter tall complete bathroom unit, as you can see in this picture. So that is the second project, and I have a video here. You can see the process so that you can understand that what is the advantage of this printing process. So this is the bathroom unit, and if you see the cross section, of the wall, it is not entirely solid. So you can see the cross section is lattice wall. So it means these walls are now more lightweight. The production time is also very fast because of the printing less material requirement. So that is the advantage of concrete printing, that if you want to create a structure, you need less material, less printing time, and also the structure can be produced with more lightweight features. So this is the robotic arm depositing the face material layer by layer, and ultimately once the structure was printed, we manually fix the tiles, other accessories to have a complete filling of this bathroom unit. And then we have done some testing, large scale testing, ultimately declared this structure is safe for applications. This is an example. It's a impact test we are conducting, and you can see that such kind of test will ensure that the 3D printed structure is reliable for some application. So but the structures whatever we have printed, most of the time it is not reinforced, and as all of us know that in concrete printing, the concrete is a very brittle material. So we need to improve the structural capability of the material by adding some reinforcement. So for that, what we have done, we try to develop a nozzle which can reinforce the steel cable during printing operation. So you can see easily here that the steel cable is being entrained with the material itself, and ultimately when we tested the material, we found the material is having more ductile nature compared to a regular concrete mix, which is always brittle nature. So brittle nature means like it cannot go for structural application. So we have to find some way to reinforce either this such kind of steel cable or fibers to improve the ductility of the structure. Then we have done some testing for printing the material over a curb bed, because sometimes we have to design a fancy structures is because of the capability of the robotic system. So as you can see that we can print the structure over a curb print bed, and you can see that the structures are being used for many applications like facade application, some innovative design structures which can be also possible to be applied in some building applications. And suppose you want to create a large scale structure and still you have a very small robot, it is also possible to print using this kind of robotic system where two robots can simultaneously work together to create the large scale structures. So this is an example where multi robots can be combined to print the entire large scale structure in case you don't have the facility to print a large scale structure. The small robots can be also programmed in such a way that there will be no collision and the entire structure can be printed in one go with less time. So that is the key message. It's in the video that the whole structure 1.86 meter structure is printed just in 8 minutes without the need of mold, and multi-robot has been used to print the structure in less time. Yeah, so coming to the end of my talk, so now I just want to demonstrate some of the key applications of the structure and the process that has been reached to worldwide for many construction projects. So Saib is a company from Netherlands, so they are using a robotic system to print the entire building in a desert atmosphere, you can see that this robotic system is having similar nozzle, and they are depositing the material layer by layer. In the middle they have a pumping system, they are depositing all the materials to the nozzle, and they are layer by layer creating the structures. Another company from France is X3. So you can see they are also using robotic system, but they have a very fancy and a new advanced nozzle which can deposit a very rapid hardening material, which can be seen that they are able to print very complex geometry with very fine layer height. You can see such structures are very difficult to imagine with conventional casting process, because it's very difficult to create molds for such complex geometries, but with the help of 3D printing process, it is easy to create such kind of structures. And you can see such complexity has been achieved by this robotic 3D printing system. And recently they have done many projects where they wanted to create lightweight structures by creating such lattice walls for many applications. This company is Basics 3D, so they are also into concrete printing. So you can see the complexity of the structure they are trying to address by using this robotic system. Again, they are using rapid hardening material, because such large scale structures cannot be achieved without adding accelerators or adding any chemicals which is going to make the material rapid hardening once you deposit on the print bed. Okay, some structures, furnitures has been printed by these companies to demonstrate the capability of the technology to print not only in the building but also some urban furnitures. This is the same company I told in the very beginning that Episcore, they have claimed that using their printing system and material, the entire house was printed in 24 hours. So that is the first news that came into the market, that using their crane kind of robotic system, the entire building was printed. So now this company has expanded their business in many different countries. You can see in Dubai they are printing the entire building, municipality building, with using their robotic system, robotic crane kind of system. And it is very interesting to know that all the walls are now not more solid, rather it has been topological optimized to make it more lightweight. So that is the advantage of this process, that you can deposit the material where there is a need of material. You don't have to fill the material entirely to create the whole structure. So this is the entire 3D printed building that has been printed using this crane kind of robotic system. And also there is some news from China. They are having a gantry kind of machine that can deposit the concrete layer by layer. They have printed many buildings, houses, multi-story buildings. As you can see, this whole houses was 3D printed. So what is their approach? They are printing the prefab panels. As you can see, they are printing the prefab panels and assembling it on site. So these walls are mostly prefab kind of elements, where the walls, you can see they're assembling it on site to create the entire structure. It's again similar to the lattice wall concept. So they are not completely filling the walls, rather the walls has been topological optimized to having a zigzag pattern, which is going to save the material as well as it is going to save the printing time. So recently during COVID days, they printed these cubicles for the COVID patient, because they feel due to the lack of labors, it is a good opportunity to use this concrete printing system to have this kind of buildings and structures. Okay, so this is a recent news from our lab. We have also installed a concrete printing system, and we have done some initial research to develop new materials and printing systems. We have done some testing with printing IITG logo, and we will also try to use a new materials, new nozzle system to have a large scale structure printing facility at IIT Guwahati. So this is our initial work, and towards the end I just want to comment on the economy or the cost affordability of the structures. You can see there is a recent paper that has been published, and it says that if you are trying to go with digital construction technique like concrete printing, initially the cost of the structure is definitely higher than traditional construction process, but as the complexity increases, the cost also minimized. So it means at this stage, the digital construction technology, though you have to pay a little bit more money, but as the complexity increases, the technology can be affordable, and through proper research and development, we'll try to find some structures which can be casted and combined with 3D printed structures, so that the buildings will be no longer entirely 3D printed, rather some structures will be 3D printed and combined with your casted objects. So ultimately our goal is to create a buildings with hybrid approach, where some part can be casted, and where there is a need to create complex structures, 3D printing is a excellent tool for such applications. So the key takeaways from this talk is, when you are working on concrete printing technology, material is most important, and for material, texturotropy is the key. And then when you want to print such structures, material, machine and designs have to be interconnected. Otherwise your print quality may not be optimized. And apart from that, there are several issues now the whole research committee is addressing, like reinforcement, structural integrity, testing methods, and of course the affordability of the structures. So with this I would like to conclude my talk. Thank you very much. If you have any question, feel free to email me. We can have more discussion on this topic. Thank you very much.